Hello, welcome to the Kate and Kay Show. Today we come to you from our garden and we're looking at the 7th book of the Bible, which is Judges. I'm going to start with a challenge. We're going to spin round these brooms for 1 minute and then the first one to touch the fence wins. Let's go.
I'm going to beat you.
Right, I'll start with a sec, go. Five, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can't do it. Over to Madeline.
Sinfulness, rescue, and sinfulness.
The time of the Judges was not a good time for God's people. You might have heard when Madeline read our 3 words that 2 of them were the same. You had sinfulness, rescue, and then sinfulness again. That's because in this book there is a repeated pattern. Just like Kate and I spinning round and round, the Israelites kept going round in circles. First, they would sin. They would turn their backs on God and live their own ways. And then things didn't go very well for them. The further they got from living God's way, the worse their lives got. God allowed them to suffer the consequences of their sin until they were so desperate they would cry out to him for help. And so God would send them a judge or a leader to help get them back on track, to help point them back to him and to remind them that God's way is the best way. You might have heard of some of the judges. Gideon was a judge, Deborah was a judge, and perhaps the most famous of them all, the long-haired Samson. After God had raised up a judge, things would go well for a bit. But it wasn't long before the Israelites would just fall back into their old ways and the cycle would begin again. But God never got tired of giving them another chance. Listen to this Bible verse.
Whenever the Lord raised up a judge for them, he was with the judge and saved them out of the hands of their enemies as long as the judge lived. For the Lord relented because of their groaning under those who oppressed and afflicted them.
God didn't just give them a second chance. He forgave them over and over again. He heard their cries for help and he sent someone to help them, to rescue them. A line that's repeated lots in this book is Israel had no king and they did what was right in their own eyes. But the thing is, Israel did have a king. God was their king and they should have been living by what was right in his eyes, not what was right in their own eyes. Actually, we're all a bit like the Israelites. We forget that we have a king, that God is our king, and we live the way that we think is best. That's what sin is. But just like God heard the cries of the Israelites and sent someone to help them, when we cry out to him, he helps us too. He has already sent a rescuer to rescue us, Jesus. All we need to do is to ask him, and we can be rescued too. When we come to God and say sorry, he never gets tired of giving us another chance. He always forgives us.
What's the 7th book of the Bible? Genesis,
Exodus,
Leviticus,
Numbers,
Deuteronomy,
Joshua,
Judges.